So, yeah, I guess it was kind of like a date, but I don't know, two friends hanging out. It was just all we ever did was just like hang out and watch a few movies, or and then Dexter that one time. But yeah, in the theater, she was banging her knee against my knee, I guess to say, don't don't press your knee against my knee. So that was her way of saying don't do that, I guess. Kind of a violent way to do that, though. So I guess she didn't want me to have my knee touch her knee, but I don't know why. Hmm. She could have like scooted farther away. Hey, that would have been a nicer way to deal with that. If you don't want someone, if you don't want this person, if you don't want this person's knee touching your knee, you could either say something, or you could scoot a little farther away, uh, instead of just violently banging your knee against that other person's knee. Which is kind of a crazy thing to do. Um, there was something else that um, I guess I won't really get into. She said something on Facebook, which was kind of like surprising that she would say something personal like that on Facebook. But then when I brought it up, she got all defensive about it. Um, it's a kind of crazy person. But we were about to make plans where she was gonna. Um, I think she was gonna spend the night at my apartment because she wanted to see this movie that I decided was too scary to watch because it was like I think it was like one of those paranormal activity movies, and I find those types of movies too scary. So I guess she was gonna spend the night, and maybe we were gonna have some alcohol, and so that was something we were planning on doing. I think at one point she asked if I do foot rubs. Um, and then there was this one moment where she like she was coming, like I usually like to eat something when uh well when I eat I like to watch something, and the times that she was coming over was the time around the time when I would eat something. So this was one issue we had because she wanted me to tell her when I was going to be eating so that she would bring some food, because she didn't want me to eat in front of her if she didn't have something to eat. I guess she felt like I was teasing her, maybe. But like the first time that she came over, I had prepared some food and we had some food together. And then I think it was the day, yeah, it was the day where we were watching Dexter. I had some food that I was gonna make, and I'm pretty sure I asked her if she wanted some. I was gonna share my food with her while I was making it, and I guess I was kind of thinking if she wanted to bring food, she could have brought food. Uh, but so she didn't bring anything to eat this one day. So we were gonna watch Dexter, and I offered to share some of my food with her, and she didn't. She said no. But then when I started eating some of my food, then she said, "Oh, that looks kind of good." Um, Kind of implying that I think she might have asked about having some. But then I was like, I said, well, I've had this because it was just I was using a fork to eat, like it was these vegan sausages. So then I kind of said, well, I've already had this fork in my mouth, and I was already moving the sausages around with the fork that I had in my mouth. So I said that, well, I was already doing this, so you probably don't want it now because I was uh, touching the sausages with the fork that I had in my mouth. So I guess she didn't like that because afterwards she made a comment about if you're gonna eat in front of someone, you should let them know so that they can bring a sandwich. So she kind of like flipped out on me about that. But this was after this happened. So we were texting, um, but right before we were about to make plans to have her spend the night and us watch Paranormal Activity and have some alcohol, I guess. Uh, she she's a Viking fan, and I made a joke about her wearing a Viking jersey for pajamas, which I thought, oh, I'll just be playful, make a playful joke, and then she calls me a dork, which, as I mentioned before, uh, I don't appreciate that kind of thing. Uh, and I know how a lot of friends might call each other dork, and maybe they don't have a problem with it. But I I don't like being called dork. I find it to be insulting. So I would call these types of things friendly insults because these are insults that you give to people that you are supposed to be friends with, like maybe other kind of words like nerd or idiot or dummy. Uh, but when someone uses these types of words directed at me, it makes me feel bad because it's not a nice thing to say to someone. It's a word you would use to someone you are picking on, and well, it's disrespectful, and I feel like uh, I I wouldn't have called. I told her I said I wouldn't have called you that. I wouldn't anyone that I'm friends with. I'm not gonna call them these names to pick on them because it's a thing about respect. Why would you pick on someone that you want to like you? But yeah, there's a lot of people out there that have friends and they throw these friendly insults at them. They're like, "Oh, okay, you're giving me a hard time," and then they just throw another insult back at them. I'm not into that. I think that's disrespectful. Um, so okay, so she sends me this text calling me a dork because I was making a joke. So I make a joke with her, trying to be friendly with her by making a joke, and she calls me a dork. And I send her a text back saying, please don't call me that. And and then she kind of got defensive after that, which I thought was strange, a strange reaction. Because from my perspective, if you're in a friendship with someone and then that friend says something to you that you don't like, and then the friend then tells the other friend, I don't like when you say that to me. So letting them know that that they didn't appreciate the friendly insult. I think that the friend should be understanding and say if they want to continue being friends with this person, they should be understanding and say, "Oh, well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be rude to you," and from that point on, be careful with what you say. Like, uh, be more respectful, I guess. But it's just that thing where people like there are these types of people that think it's okay to use friendly insults with their friends, and then there are other people's. other people that don't think it's okay, and so there's conflict. So maybe these two types of people can't be friends because one person thinks it's okay to insult their friends, and the other person doesn't like being insulted. So they can't really be friends, can they? Unless that other person who uses the insult initially can kind of realize that, oh, well, maybe that isn't very nice to call this person a dork, especially if they don't like it, like, you know, because who likes being picked on, really? If given the option of being picked on and not being picked on, why would someone not prefer? Why wouldn't someone prefer to not be picked on? Why isn't that understandable? Okay, so this friend, uh, she got really defensive. She tells me this friend thing isn't working out. I was surprised by that. She says how she has to walk on eggshells around me, and then she brought up something in that happened in the past where there was okay. So I was working at a fast food place with chicken, which is really disgusting. Um, so there were times where there would be blood from chicken and chicken meat disgustingness would be on my shoes, my work shoes, and I would keep them by the door on this like mat. So I consider this floor mat where my work shoes were. I consider that to be dirty. And there was one time where she came in and she put her shoes on this mat, which would possibly have some chicken blood on it, residue. And I asked her not to do that. I said, don't put that there. And she just kind of laughed it off, and she put her shoes there anyway on this floor mat, which had come into contact with chicken blood, possibly, which I found to be very disgusting. So she just laughed it off after I told her once, and then I told her again. And in retrospect, I my tone was kind of not very nice, but I was irritated because she was just laughing it off and not listening to me, even though it was my apartment. She was just going to laugh it off and just put her shoes there anyway. So I was in a more stern tone, which she didn't appreciate, I guess. So that was one thing, which is probably why she was saying she has to walk on eggshells around me. But like the whole thing happened with her put before all that happened with her putting her shoes on the chicken blood floor mat. Before all that, the first time she came to my apartment, I didn't say anything at first, but so she had her shoes on when she came in my apartment, and I'm the type of person I like my carpet in my apartment to be as clean as possible, so I never wear my shoes inside my apartment. I always take my shoes off and put them on a mat. So there's a floor mat for like my regular shoes and then for my work shoes that are separate.